Okay, so today we're going to do day 2 of law of cosines. So we went over the instruction last week. We're going to go ahead, and these are going to be problems from your assignment that is scheduled for today. The quiz is tomorrow. As I put grades in the grade book, I only put law of sines in. I'll put all of law of cosines in together, even though if something like if we did this assignment on Friday, I would have kept it grouped with the same unit. So if you see something ever missing in a week, that's on that Friday. It's usually because I'll put it in the following week. Also, I did send out a message on Remind that talked about our participation. So if you did the 2 law of sine assignment, or the assignment and the quiz last week, and you completed them before I did grades this morning, so you could have done it over the weekend as well to catch up if you were behind. If you did those 2 assignments, you get your 10 points of participation for the week. If you didn't do them, then you would get 7 points. If you're more than 1 week behind in Edgenuity, then you're going to get 5 out of the 10 points. So, and again, this is based on the calendar that I send out to you guys on Friday, which is the calendar that is in your Google Classroom. So if you're not on track with that, I don't care what Edgenuity tells you where you should be. It's my calendar that I want you guys to stay correlated with. So if you have questions about that, message me, or again, just let me know, unmute yourself. All right, so law of sines. Quick review, law of sines. So I'll go ahead and put just the basic formula. So if I have a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a is one way to look at it. So this would be, I would use this if I was going to solve for a side. If I'm looking for the angle, then I would have cosine of A is equal to, and I would have my B squared plus C squared minus my A squared all over 2BC. So this is just kind of a review of the formulas that you're going to be working with for this section. Our next section is going to have law of sines and cosine together. So this first one, it says, using the law of cosine, so sweet, I already know what I'm going to use. I don't need to even figure it out. It tells me in the instructions. So use that, especially when you guys move further on and you take the test and you're like, which one do I use? The law of sines or law of cosines? Read the question. It might give you that hint. It says, what is the measure of angle X? So we're looking for this angle right here. So across from my angle X is my side X, across from my angle Y is my side Y, and across from my angle Z is my side Z. So I know all 3 sides. So this would be a side, side, side triangle, right? So if it's side, 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 we would use the law of cosines. Again, we already knew that. So I want to solve for my angle X. So I'm going to do cosine of X is equal to, so here it's an A. So again, we need to be able to translate it using my X, Y, and Z to make it fit this idea here. So if I'm looking for angle A, then I subtracted that value of side A. So the other ones are all going to just be, it doesn't matter if this is Y or Z, I just know it's the other 2 pieces. So when I go here, then it's going to be a Y squared plus Z squared minus it's X because this is X, my X squared all over 2YZ. And then I fill in all the pieces. So I have cosine of X is equal to, and my Y is 8, so it's 8 squared plus 6 squared minus 9 squared all over 2 times 8 times 6. And I would go to my wonderful calculator. So when I do my calculator for this, let's see, I just want to make sure you guys can see it. So when I do my calculator, I would do everything in the numerator. So I would just do my 8 squared plus my 6 squared minus my 9 squared. And then I would go ahead and do my denominator. The reason is sometimes you guys will do this and then divide it and you're not doing the right order of operations. If you were going to do this all together, you'd have to parenthesis this grouping first and then divide it by that denominator. So this is going to be 19. 2 times 8 times 6 is just going to be 2 times 8 is going to be my, or sorry, I said 2 times 8, but my 8 times 6, my 48 times my 2. We could have done that all mentally, just I'm showing you guys. So you don't have to use the calculator. Okay, my last piece, we're solving for an angle. That's where we have to use the inverse. So we go ahead and we do my cosine inverse. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So it's going to be cosine inverse of this value. So I go to my wonderful calculator and I'm going to do, excuse me, cosine inverse. And I do my 19 divided by my 96. And I get this value of 78.58. So I look up here, they're all rounded to the whole number. So this is going to round, my 5 is going to round this up to a 79 degrees. And we are done. Check. Next problem. Again, if I go too fast, if you miss something, you're not sure about something, let me know. If you're having problems with your calculators, those are things that you want to ask me. Okay. It says that a triangle has side lengths 4, 7, and 9. What is the measure of the angle across from the longest side? So we could call this, if we want, just A, B, and C. So what is the angle across from the longest side? So we want then, in this case, angle C, because this is the largest side right there. So then that corresponds with what I labeled C. You could have done X, Y, Z. You could have done A, B, C, whatever. I just put a place value to kind of help you guys with a visual. So if I was going to solve for this angle C, notice how they used the side equations. So they didn't use this format. They used this format. So if I want my angle C, here's my C would go here, and it would be my side C here. So it should look something like this. It should match with this formula of C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of C. Well, they actually had that as your A. You guys get the idea. All right, so if that's the case, and I plugged in the values, then I would have my 4 and 7 here. So this should be 4 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 4 times 7 cosine of C. Now, again, some of you guys are like, that's an A, so that's wrong there. Well, no, because it's just a variable. We just picked a letter. So it's not changing the value. So some of you guys are looking at this like, well, what's going on here? How am I getting this? Or what am I looking for? So they're looking to see, like, where is the error? So I didn't read the whole question, but we're looking for where is Gabe's error. Now, there are some mistakes here, and that's not the error. There are some notation mistakes. This is G, it's not supposed to be there. I think it must have been some type of, maybe it was the multiplication sign. I'm not quite sure, but that is not where the problem is wrong, which obviously it looks like it would be wrong right there. That is an error in the way that they typed up the problem. So that is not the mistake that they're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and so this first step matches minus that mistake that they have there. So I'm pointing, this is why I wanted to point this problem out to you guys. So then I go to my next one. Oh, and I didn't even put in my C value. I'm sorry. We do know that this C is 9. So let's go ahead and fill that in. So then 9 squared is 81 is equal to 16 plus 49 minus 2 times 4 times 7 is going to be 56 cosine of C. So this next step, match. There's no mistake there. So I'm just going to keep working it out. If I try to work it out through here, a lot of times then I kind of overlook things. So I like to do it myself. So I go, okay, what 81 is equal to, and I go ahead and I add these. And so I get my 16 plus my 49, and I get my 65 minus 56 cosine of C. And I look here and I go, huh, that's not what I see here. So they must have gone ahead and done another step, right? But I look and I go, okay, well, I can't combine these. So you guys like, why can't you combine them? Well, remember, This is a set here. This is stuck with this 56 is stuck with my cosine of C. I can't just do 65 minus 56 because it's not just 65 minus 56. It's 65 minus 56 cosine of C. This is a set right here. So this piece right here, this 9 is wrong. They cannot do that. They went ahead and just subtracted those values, but you cannot do that because that 56 is attached to that cosine. So it says over here, Gabe should not have subtracted 56 from your 16 plus your 49, which is true. He should not have subtracted, this was your 65. He should not have subtracted this 56 from here because it's 56 times that cosine of C, which we don't even know. So be careful about that. And yes, there are different errors throughout Edgenuity. If you see something else, message me because I try to make sure, like, let you guys know as I find them or as I hear about them. Flipping my page, some more pictures. All right. This one says, Brian wants to fence in triangular plot of farmland that measures 1 by 1 by 1.5 by 2.5 miles. So here's the diagram. So nice that they gave us a picture to go with it. If they didn't, I would draw it out because I'm a visual person. Determine the angles at which the fence of the 3 sides will meet. So I just have it for angle A. I'm pretty sure when you go through this, you'll have to find angle B and angle C. Once you find angle B, then you can add the 2 together and subtract it to find your angle C. So once you have 2, the third one's really easy. I'm only going to spend the time to do the 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and find my angle A. So if I want my angle A, this is my side A, my side C, my side B. So again, if I want to solve for my angle A, then I'm going to use cosine of A is equal to, it's going to be B squared plus C squared minus my A squared. So whatever angle I'm solving for, I am subtracting the corresponding side all over 2BC. I fill in the pieces. So cosine of A is equal to, and it's going to be 1.1 squared plus 1.5 squared minus 2.2 squared all over 2 times 1.1 times 1.5. Cosine of A is equal to, my wonderful calculator, I'm going to do 1.1, whoops, let's do 1.1 squared plus 1.5 squared minus 2.2 squared, and I get negative 1.38. Just because you get a negative does not mean you did anything wrong. Do not freak out about that. That's perfectly okay. All over 2 times 1.1 times 1.5, which is 3.3. Again, we're solving for an angle. So if we're solving for an angle, we're going to have to take the inverse. So cosine inverse, cosine inverse. So this tells me then that my angle A is going to be approximately, I go to my calculator and I do shift my cosine button. That's how I get my cosine inverse. And it's going to be negative, well, got some coming in. Okay, we got negative 1.38 divided by 3.3. And I get that it's going to be approximately 100. This is round to the nearest degree. So it's going to be approximately 115 degrees. And there's the answer I'm looking for. 115 degrees. Perfect. And now we're on to my very last one. Okay. Here we go. Cheyenne and Jacob are geocaching. They are currently hiking the main trail at a bearing of north 45 degrees east. Remember those bearings. So north 45 degrees east. They determined that the cache should be about 1.5 miles off the trail at a bearing of north 17 degrees east. Oh my goodness, what is all of this bearing stuff telling me, right? So this is the part that's really hard for you guys. Okay, so the first part here says, the main trail is at a bearing of north 45 degrees east. So remember, Now, when we talk about north, north is going to be, here's north. So obviously straight down would be south. And I'm using this as my starting point. So it says that they're going north 45 degrees east. So northeast, east is going to be this direction. Never eat shredded wheat. That's how I remembered. My kids use never eat soggy waffles. So remember, east is going to be to my right. So I'm saying if I'm going to start north and I'm going to go 45 degrees to the east to my main trail. And this angle right here is 45 degrees then. That's what this is telling me. The next piece says they determine that a 1.5 mile trail at the bearings of north 17 east. So here's my 1.5 mile trail, and this is going to be north 17 degrees east. So you can see the two angles and where those came from. If they want to hike to a point 3 miles further along the main trail, once they have located the cache, they will need to hike an additional how far. So they're going here 3 miles, and then they're going to turn to go to the geo. And they want to know, well, how far then do they have to hike if they come in this way? How far do they have to hike if they come in off my main trail 3 miles? So we want to figure out this piece right here. So here's some things that I do know that weren't given to me. They're not straightforward. They were not given to me exactly. So I know this angle right here. You guys are like, how do you know that angle? Well, this whole thing is 45 and this little piece is 17. Then I could go ahead and do my 45 minus 17, and that angle has to be 28 degrees. This little angle right here is 28 degrees. So when I look at this piece, this triangle, I can say that this is my angle A, B, C, then this is my side A that we're looking for. This is my side B and my side C. So if I want to put it in my triangle, I know it's going to be law of cosines already, but I would like to show you guys how we keep our information, just because this helps us determining law of sines versus law of cosines. Again, everything for this section is law of cosines. But just a kind of a reminder, so this is 28 degrees. I know that. I know my side B is 3 miles. I know my side C is 1.5 miles, and I want to know what my side A is. So when I look here, I don't have a full set. Remember, we talked about this idea of a full set. If I had an angle and a corresponding side, that's what we call a full set. Then I can use my law of sines. And this doesn't happen here. This does not happen. And so what's happening is I would have two unknowns if I went to use my law of sines. If I matched these two, I wouldn't know my side A or my angle B. So I have to use my law of cosines, and I'm looking for my side A. So the equation for that would be A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. Fill in everything I know. A squared is equal to 3 squared plus 1.5 squared minus 2 times 3 times 1.5 times my cosine of 28 degrees. So I go to my calculator, and I would go ahead and I would do my 3 squared plus my 1.5 squared, and this together right here is going to be 11.25 minus, I would do 2 times 3 times 1.5 times cosine of 28 equals, and I get that this whole thing right here is going to be 7.95. So I go ahead and I subtract these. So 11.25 minus my answer, and I get A squared is approximately 3.303 You could do it however you want for your paper, but really I would just leave it all in the calculator. So it's the square root of that answer. So remember, I need to take the square root of each side. So I end up with A is approximately 1.8. A is approximately 1.8 miles. 1.8 miles. That's what they were looking for. Kind of get that out of the way. Do I have any questions about any of these, especially with the bearings or understanding the bearings? And when I do the bearings, I like to draw my north line here. A lot of them have been from the north, but I like to draw like that line. So then I go, okay, this is where I'm starting from. And they're talking about, then I kind of draw that angle in. It really helps me personally. But any questions at all? You can put them in the chat. You can unmute yourself. Clarification on anything? All righty. Well, if you think of anything, feel free to reach out to me on Remind. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. Hopefully you don't blow away. Hopefully we don't see any bad damage. And I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll go over quiz questions. Have a great day. Oh, yes, Rob.
It's about the notes.
Yes.
Yeah.